Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a new series that we like to call the Weekly Washdown, where we take one of our cars from the fleet, get it down, give it a clean and show you what's going on, as well as giving you a little bit of background and some info on some of the cars you might not have seen recently. Today is the turn of our Mustang Fastback. Now this car's probably not been on the channel at all yet, but we've owned it for about 3 years. Now this was one of the team members' dream cars, and we picked it up at auction a few years ago and then put it on fleet. It's done a couple of local shows, but it's never been to any of the big ones apart from coming with us to Germany for Essen. Ever since then, it's sat on a ramp and it's a little bit dusty. So we're going to get it down from there, give it a wash down, bring it in, assess what's happening, and then go from there. Let's get on with it. So that's the car clean and washed and dried, and now we're inside. We had to hustle when we were out there because you could probably tell from the footage it is quite hot today. But now I've got it cleaned and dried and inside, I've actually noticed something. This car has picked up a bit of bonded contamination. Now for those that are not familiar with detailing or not that clued up, what bonded contamination is stuff that is bonded to the paintwork that won't just come off with washing. That can be a multitude of things. Mainly it's tree sap in this country, but it could be road tar, or it could be iron fallout or industrial fallout from the air. Whatever it is, it's probably dust and a mix of pollen and tree sap from doing the odd show. It doesn't need to be parked directly under a tree to pick up that kind of contamination. On hot days, it ends up airborne, it then gets blown in the wind and it can go quite a distance. I've rubbed my hand over certain areas, it feels a bit rough. So what I'm gonna do is take this chance to show you a stage of detailing that I think has been overlooked in recent years, and that is clay barring. If you're not familiar with clay barring, what a clay bar does, contrary to popular belief, is it basically shaves off anything that's stuck to the paintwork that won't come off with washing alone. It won't dig in and do anything into the paintwork. It can't get into it or into any of the structure. It simply shaves off anything that is sitting proud and is stuck to the paint. I'll show you the techniques, Once we've done that, we're going to need to hand polish it, because whenever you clay, you must polish. Likewise, if you're ever going to machine polish a car, you must clay and decontaminate the car first. If this was a road going car or a daily driver, we would have done a 2-stage chemical decontamination using an acid ion remover first and then a solvent tar remover. But being a show car, it doesn't have that level of contamination on it, so claying alone will be fine. So what we've got here is a clay lube. Now you can use a dedicated clay lube, or you can use a quick detailer or some shampoo mixed up with water. It's totally up to you. Dedicated clay lubes do mean that you cause a little bit less marring. That's something we'll come into a little bit later, but other products will do a similar job. It depends if you're going to go heavy polishing after, or if you've got soft paint. Then we have got a medium clay bar. Now a clay bar is quite simply that. It is a bar of clay. We break these off into about quarters, somewhere around there, works fine. Pull yourself off a decent amount. Now on a warm day like today, this is quite usable, manageable and pliable, but if it is cold, it's worth getting just a little bowl or a bucket of hot water, putting the bar in some hot water so that you can squidge it and move it and mold it around. Feels a bit like putty or Play-Doh, that's how it should feel. If it's really solid, what that can do is then inflict marring in the paintwork, which are light scratches and lots of them. They're not difficult to remove, but you want to avoid causing those if you can. First thing you do is work it out into a nice disc. I like a disc around about that size that covers my fingers. That is good to go. The first thing I'll say before I even get into this, I'm going to explain something that's very important. I see people mess up their clay all the time by not following this step. And that is, you only use one side of this disc. So I'm going to use it like this on the paintwork. Then when this side has picked up contamination, I'm not going to flip it over and use the other side. You don't do that. You fold the dirty side back in on itself. Then you mold that out so the dirty parts of the clay bar end up inside there, and you're not taking that contamination and rubbing it all around your paintwork. So that is an important tip. To clay your car, it's quite simple. Take your clay lube, spray the surface, and then with your disc of clay, simply go in back and forward motions, shaving off any contamination that might be stuck on that paintwork. I like to go in cross hatching just to make sure I've got everything. Now when you're doing this, you'll actually feel, if there's a lot of contamination on there, you'll feel it. You'll feel it kind of cut through and get smoother. There is a way to tell if there's contamination on your car. A quick fix way is use the back of your fingers and just feel the paint and feel if there's any texture there. Another way is you can get like a sandwich bag or a small sealy bag, put that over your fingertips and feel. That kind of amplifies it, so you can really feel if there's anything there. I could feel this in washing, that it was a little bit grippy on the drying towel. Now, personally, I think that's from where this car's been at a couple of shows, near trees, in the heat, in the wind, and it's picked up a little bit of tree sap. So I'm going to do the upper areas because I didn't feel anything on the lowers. And then after that, we're going to give it a polish up. But we've got to follow this method all the way around the car. Some people like to do this when they're washing the car, and that is a good way of doing it, only if you're experienced and you're a fast worker and it's not as hot as it is today. A lot of professional detailers you'll see actually incorporate clay barring as part of their deep cleaning wash. But the old school method is this way. It is getting the car cleaned and dried, getting it indoors, and then setting about it with a clay bar, taking your time. There's no rush now. I've not got to rush around, so I've not got to worry about it too much. Once you get a bit more experience with it, then you can start doing it as part of your wet work. After you've washed the car, rinse it down while it's wet, get about it. It usually works better if you've got two of you, or if it's a rainy day, because the rain keeps things moving. But on a hot day like today, I would definitely not be doing that. I'm going to carry on around the car, simply like that. I'm pretty happy with that area that I've done there. I'm now working the clay out. Dead straight lines. I can keep it wet if I want, just keep spraying that lubrication down to keep things going. Back and forwards. Sometimes you can hear what you're picking up. If it's a nice quiet day and you're in your workshop alone. Now I'm not applying any pressure at this point either, it's worth noting. Just enough to keep it on the paintwork and moving around the shape of the paintwork, but I'm not pressing hard. Definitely don't press hard as you do this. Just enough pressure to keep it on there. So if you get in there with a camera, we've not picked up very much. We've got a couple of little yellowy orange spots, another spot down here. It's quite minimal what we have picked up. I am a bit fussy, so I do like to keep the show cars absolutely A1. Once I've done an area, I'm simply going to wipe it down, dry it off, get rid of any residue. And now that area is done. If I fill that with the backs of my fingers, that is lovely and smooth now. It's another important thing, if you are going to machine a car, if you're going to get into machine polishing, you're going to machine polish a car, you have to use a clay bar before you machine polish the car. Because otherwise what happens, all that contamination that you'll pick up with this would still be there. You'll pick it up with your polishing pad and then you drag it all around as you're trying to fix scratches. Those sharp little particles get spun around all over your paintwork. And I see people time and time again, they're like, I'm machining, but I'm chasing my towel. I feel like I'm putting scratches in as I'm taking scratches out. And that is usually because of poor prep work. If you spend good time on your prep work, it makes your life a lot easier further down the line. Now that we've done clay in the car, there's something that we need to do. Whenever you clay a car, you need to polish after. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be machine polishing. You can use an all-in-one polish like our triple, but you do need to polish your paintwork after. It will cause slight marring. Doesn't matter how good you are at it, especially on these repainted cars and show paintwork, you're gonna get the odd little bit of marring. Now, that marring's nothing to worry about. It's very, very fine scratches, all really close together. Something like this can take those out, no hassle. It's also very good for taking away any residue from the clay lube that you've used, whether that be shampoo, quick detailer, or a dedicated clay lube. That will take care of that too. So, just a small amount onto a microfiber pad, and again, very much the same. Straight lines, work it in, back and forward. You'll be going across the hatching that you've done before with your clay bar, and we'll follow this all the way around the car and then top it with a wax just to protect it all again so it's ready for the next show. So you'll notice with this, I don't just rub it over the paintwork and I'm done. I work it in. Now, triple has an abrasive in it. Abrasives are diminishing abrasives in modern polishes and they break down over time. And if you want to get the most from them, you need to work them in. So a good rule of thumb, like with machine polishing, is you work it until that polish goes almost clear. That means you've got the maximum bite and you're going to get the maximum results for your efforts. So now with the car clayed and polished, whilst triple contains a bit of wax, I want to lay down a proper coat of wax. You'll probably notice from the befores when we were washing the car, this car was shedding water pretty well, and that is because it's well waxed up. I like to keep all the show cars with a good 2 or 3 coats on them at all times. Some people will say, why don't you coat them? Well, I'll give you the honest opinion. From my opinion, you cannot beat the look of a proper carnauba wax. To wax your car, it's easy. Just grab your pot of wax, get your wax applicator, quarter turn in the pot and directly to the panel. Now think of this like buttering toast. Don't start in a corner, start in the middle, put a line down and then work that out to your edges. That is the easiest way to lay down wax on any car. Again, we're going with cross hatches. If you want, you can go in overlapping circles. Some people think this will cause swirls. Believe me, if you've clayed this, polished it and prepped it all right, there is no chance you're putting any swirls in from doing that. The only major difference is if you go in a straight line, at the end of this, any contamination you would leave behind and then you'd go back up. Whereas if you go in a circular motion, you could hook some contamination up and bring it around with you. I'm fairly confident in my work. I've done this for a lot of years, so I'm going to go with circles because that's the way I like to wax a car, but it is just personal preference.